Hello, everyone. Everything you do in life starts with a thought. But have you ever asked yourself, are my thoughts helping me or hurting me? Learning to think correctly isn't just a self-help idea. It's a survival skill in this complex world. Your thoughts shape your beliefs, your choices, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. So today, let's explore what it really means to think correctly, and how mastering this one skill can transform every area of your life. Most people go through life without ever questioning the thoughts that run through their minds every day. They assume that because a thought appeared, it must be accurate, logical, or reflective of reality. But the truth is far from that. The mind is not a perfect instrument. It is shaped by everything we've experienced: our upbringing, society, media, fears, heartbreaks, past failures, insecurities, and sometimes even voices that were never truly our own. Imagine a courtroom where a witness gives testimony, and the judge accepts it without cross-examination. That's how most people treat their thoughts. They hear something internally like, "I'm not good enough. These will never work." Or, "People don't like me." And instead of asking, "Is this even true?" they accept it as fact. That is how incorrect thinking takes root. It starts with unquestioned thoughts. Right thinking requires courage. It demands that you become the observer of your mind, not just a passive listener. When you learn to step back and say, "Hold on, who told me this?" Or, "Why do I believe this?" you begin the process of mental freedom. Some of your beliefs have never been tested. They were just inherited. You absorb them in silence, but silence breeds assumptions, and assumptions become limitations. Thinking correctly means you must interrogate your thoughts. You must develop the mental strength to sit with them, examine them, and even dismantle them when necessary. A toxic thought left unchallenged is like a virus. It spreads. It spreads. It colors your mood, your decisions, and eventually your identity. That's why people often live far below their potential, not because they lack ability, but because they trust lies in their own heads. Correct thinking requires that you treat every thought like a guest at your door. Who are you? Where did you come from? Do you serve me or sabotage me? Not every thought deserves your trust. Some need to be confronted. Some need to be discarded. And some, when re-examined, will open the door to healing, clarity, and strength you never knew you had. In a world that moves faster than ever, reacting has become the default setting for most people. Bostach comes in. We reply instantly. Someone offends us, we respond with anger. A situation shifts, we panic without pause. This cycle of instant reactivity creates stress, regret, conflict, and often irreversible damage. But correct thinking demands a different posture, reflection before reaction. When something happens, you're not required to react immediately. In fact, that immediate reaction is usually the product of your ego, your emotional wounds, or your old programming, not your wisdom. The ability to pause, even for a few seconds, separates people who live with maturity from those who live in emotional chaos. Reflection is not weakness. It is power under control. It's saying, I don't have to say the first thing that comes to mind. I don't have to match their energy. I don't have to feed the fire. I choose to think first. That small gap between what happens to you and what you do about it, that gap is where your strength, clarity, and growth reside. The longer you train yourself to sit in that space, the more powerful and peaceful you become. Reacting is impulsive. It's easy, automatic, and often harmful. But reflecting is intentional. It allows you to assess the moment. What exactly was said? What did I feel? Why did I feel it? What are the consequences of what I'm about to say or do? Is this moment about them, or about me? These kinds of internal questions slow you down, but they also lift you up. They remove you from the emotional fog and place you into the position of conscious control. This applies in every area of life: relationships, work, conflict, and even self-talk. People who react often regret. People who reflect gain insight, make better decisions, and avoid unnecessary damage. It's not that they don't feel. They just choose to lead with reason, not impulse. They don't suppress their emotions, but they don't let emotions drive the wheel either. To think correctly, you must develop this habit. Pause before response. Breathe before speaking. Think before moving. Because in that pause, you reclaim your power. Emotions are part of being human. They are the language of the inner world. Anger, fear, sadness, anxiety, joy, jealousy, hope, shame. These feelings rise within us every day. But many people make a critical mistake. They confuse emotions with instructions. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you need to act on it. Correct thinking begins when you recognize that emotions are messengers, not masters. They're like the check engine light on a car, indicating something is happening beneath the surface, but the light itself isn't the problem. The key is to investigate, not obey blindly. If you feel angry, that doesn't mean you should lash out. If you feel afraid, that doesn't mean you should retreat. If you feel unworthy, that doesn't mean you are. You must learn to sit with your emotions without becoming them. To feel sadness without calling yourself broken. To feel fear without calling yourself weak. To feel triggered without calling yourself irrational. Emotions, when processed properly, can become your greatest teachers. But when acted upon impulsively, they can also become your worst enemies. Thinking correctly means making space for emotion. Honoring it, noticing it, naming it, but not being dominated by it. Most people are ruled by unprocessed emotions that were never challenged, never explored. They carry emotional baggage from years ago into every conversation, every decision, every reaction. And as long as that emotional noise is driving the thinking process, clarity becomes impossible. Emotional intelligence is not just a buzzword, it's a mental survival skill. It's the ability to observe your feelings without being swallowed by them. It's the discipline to say, I feel this, but I will not let it dictate my behavior right now. That separation between feeling and reaction is where emotional maturity is born. And without emotional maturity, right thinking is impossible. Remember, emotions are real, but they're not always accurate. They are influenced by sleep, stress, memories, environment, diet, hormones, and trauma. So you must become a translator of your feelings, not just a receiver. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Is it warning me? Is it trying to protect me? Or is it distorting my perception? The moment you learn to listen to your emotions without obeying them blindly, you take back control of your mind. In today's world, motivation is everywhere. Social media is filled with quotes, hype videos, and emotional speeches urging you to chase your dreams, stay focused, never give up. All these things can give you a temporary spark. That spark dies out fast if your mind hasn't been trained with discipline. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation is the ignition. Discipline is the engine. Correct thinking doesn't happen by accident. It is the product of repeated practice, mental conditioning, and daily habits. If you rely only on motivation, you'll only function when you feel good. But life doesn't wait for your feelings to align. Some days you will wake up anxious, tired, uninspired, or defeated. What will carry you through those days? Discipline. Discipline means teaching your mind to focus when distractions scream. It means thinking through long-term consequences instead of giving in to short-term urges. It means being able to tell yourself a no when your impulses are saying yes. It's doing what is necessary even when it's not exciting. It's sitting in discomfort instead of escaping into temporary pleasures. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the invisible force behind every strong, sharp, and successful mind. To develop right thinking, you must start treating your mind like a muscle. If you want a strong body, you don't just think about working out. You train. You show up consistently. You lift. You struggle. You grow. Your mind is no different. You need to read challenging material. Journal your thoughts. Or some spree. Expose yourself to new ideas. Confront your cognitive biases. Identify patterns in your thinking that lead to self-sabotage. And you must do this even when you don't feel like it. That's where the power of mental discipline lies. It breaks the addiction to convenience. Rewires your brain from impulsive patterns to intentional patterns. It helps you think critically instead of emotionally. It protects you from being swayed by opinions, trends, and temporary emotions. It builds inner strength that remains steady, no matter what the world throws at you. Many people fail to realize that their lack of peace, progress, or productivity isn't due to bad luck or lack of opportunity. It's due to undisciplined thinking. They let their minds wander to every worst-case scenario. They believe every negative story their mind creates. They procrastinate, overthink, compare, and complain, all because their mental muscles are weak from disuse. You don't need another motivational video to tell you to get up. What you need is structure, a system, a set of habits that sharpen your thinking every single day. Because the most dangerous mind is not the one that lacks knowledge. It's the one that lacks discipline. Your mind is like a spotlight. Whatever you direct it toward begins to grow in size, weight, and importance. This is one of the most powerful truths about the human brain. It doesn't just observe reality, it filters it. And filter is built through focus. What you consistently pay attention to, you strengthen. What you ignore, you weaken. Focus is not just about productivity. It's about identity. You literally become what you focus on. When you focus on problems, your mind becomes a factory of worry. It begins generating worst-case scenarios, highlighting risks, exaggerating obstacles, and building mental walls where there are none. But when you focus on solutions, the same mind starts becoming creative, adaptive, and resourceful. Suddenly, possibilities emerge. The path becomes clearer, not because the world changed, but because your focus did. Many people live in mental environments polluted by toxic focus. They spend their days fixated on comparison, criticism, conflict, or chaos. They constantly rehearse their failures, nurse old wounds, and replay negative moments like a movie stuck on repeat. Then they wonder why they feel drained, hopeless, or stuck. It's not the external world, it's internal focus that's shaping their experience. Correct thinking requires you to master the art of intentional focus. That means choosing where your mental energy goes, instead of letting it wander by default. It means catching yourself when your attention drifts toward negativity and actively redirecting it. It means setting your focus each day, not just reacting to whatever grabs your attention, but leading your attention where it matters. Focus is the gateway to clarity. When your attention is scattered, your thoughts are chaotic. But when your focus is sharp, your mind becomes like a laser, able to cut through confusion, emotion, and distraction. This doesn't mean denying reality. It means choosing the frame through which you view it. Two people can look at the same situation and see two entirely different stories. One sees disaster, the other sees opportunity. The difference? Focus. This principle applies in every area of life. In relationships, if you focus on what's missing, you'll feel resentful. But if you focus on what's present, you'll feel gratitude. In work, if you focus on tasks you hate, you'll feel burned out. But if you focus on your impact, you'll feel purpose. In yourself, if you focus only on your flaws, you'll lose confidence. But if you focus on your growth, you'll gain power. Your focus is your mental currency. And just like with money, if you spend it carelessly, you'll end up bankrupt, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But if you invest it wisely, you'll create a mind that works for you, not against you. So ask yourself, what am I feeding with my attention every day? What am I making bigger just by focusing on it? Because what you focus on, you amplify every single time. If your life feels stuck, heavy, confusing, or unsatisfying, it's not just your circumstances that need to change. It's your thinking. The results you see on the outside are a reflection of what's happening on the inside. Your relationships, your finances, your self-worth, your ability to grow, they are all directly shaped by the quality of your thoughts. So if you want to live better, you must think better. You must upgrade your thinking. Many people try to change their lives by changing their actions, but without changing the thoughts behind those actions. That's like trying to fix a leaking roof by painting over the stains. Surface solutions don't work when the root of the problem is in the mind. If your default thoughts are built on fear, self-doubt, guilt, shame, blame, or scarcity, then no matter what actions you take, the results will always feel limited, fragile, or temporary. Upgrading your thinking is about consciously rewriting your mental software. Every belief you hold about yourself, the world, your past, your future, either expands you or restricts you. And most of these beliefs were installed without your permission. They came from childhood experiences, cultural conditioning, family dynamics, failures, rejections, and random moments that left a lasting mark. But here's the truth. Just because a belief feels familiar doesn't mean it's right. Familiar isn't the same as true. To upgrade your thinking, you must first become aware of the patterns that no longer serve you. Do you always assume the worst? Do you talk yourself out of opportunities? Do you call yourself names in your head? Do you avoid discomfort at all costs? These patterns are not just habits. They're indicators of your current mental operating system. And if that system is outdated, you'll keep running into the same emotional bugs, relationship glitches, and life crashes. Correct thinking means actively choosing new beliefs and feeding them daily. It means exposing your mind to higher perspectives, reading challenging material, surrounding yourself with people who think differently, and reflecting on your own thoughts with honesty. It means turning "I can't" into "how can I?" It means replacing "I always fail" with "I am still learning." It means seeing your past not as a prison, but as a lesson. Upgraded thinking transforms your identity from a victim of your story into the author of your future. This mental evolution is not always fast. It takes effort, consistency, and the willingness to let go of old narratives, even the ones you've clung to for years. But every time you choose to challenge a limiting thought, every time you shift your focus from fear to possibility, every time you replace judgment with curiosity, you are upgrading your internal system. And that shift, over time, changes everything. An upgraded mind creates upgraded decisions. And upgraded decisions create an upgraded life. So don't just wish for better. Don't just grind for more. Learn to think at a higher level. Because the life you want requires a version of you that thinks differently. Learning to think correctly is not a one-time decision. It's a lifelong practice. It's a daily choice to rise above noise, resist emotional chaos, and build a mind that serves your highest self. You won't always get it right. You'll slip. You'll fall into old thought patterns. But each time you catch yourself, each time you pause, reflect, and reset, you are building mental strength that compounds over time. Remember this: your thoughts shape your reality, not just your mood, but your relationships, your growth, your peace, your direction. If you want to elevate your life, you must first elevate your thinking. Be patient, be intentional, and most importantly, be responsible for your inner world, because no one else can think for you, and no one else can save you from a mind left unchecked. Master your thoughts, and your life will begin to align.